Hi, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show here on Buzzin Pattaya, the show where we talk about things that are happening right here, right now, as well as general news, tips, information and advice. Welcome back to part 2. Dennis, how you doing, my man?
Nice to see you again.
Now, what is going on behind us here? I mean, remember in part 1 I told you about the V8 Fast Lane? This is where we are, and I am so out of my depth, it's incredible, because I just know nothing about these, what are stunning vehicles. But luckily this man does. So let's talk about over here on where the bikes are. I mean, you've got cars, bikes. I mean, what's all this about?
Well, so basically, as mentioned before, like we used to be only a garage for doing American restoration work. So we've been doing it for about 10 years, and these are the products of what we have produced over these 10 years.
So you've restored everything in here?
Pretty much everything, yeah. So like we source the parts from like different areas, like from America if it's not available in Thailand. So that's what we do, and then we put it all together, you know, and make sure that everything works well and the car is able to move. So that's mainly what we focus on. Like we can focus on like the restoration, making it look good at the same time. It's a drivable car.
And when you say about restoration, and forgive my ignorance, because as I said to you earlier, I don't really know much about it. You're talking about restoration. So do they come in like with rusty old, you know, holes in them?
Oh,
and
for sure.
Really?
We have had cars coming in with only the chassis and just like the body frame all banged up, rusted, and unrecognizable to what car brand it possibly was. And we have restored it completely to the point whereby it's a beautiful car and it looks almost brand new to like its original year, be it like the 70s or the 80s.
Wow. I mean, and how long do these projects take? I mean, they must take you years. I mean, how long do they take you?
It depends. It solely depends on what kind of work the customer wants. We can do things as quickly as within 2 weeks, all the way up to like 2, 3, even 4 years. Like we have a car that's been with us, our Triumph TR3. It's been with us for about 3 years. Originally was red, but we changed it to black because we thought it was a classier look.
Nice.
Especially we redid the engine and the interior and upholstery and everything. So yeah, every project varies depending on what's the demand and what is the outlook of it.
I mean, you're talking about these projects and, you know, some of them are taking a lot of time, you know, years even. I'm guessing there's a considerable cost involved because, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I do understand a little bit that getting parts here is very, very difficult and expensive. I mean, how are you sort of adjusting to that kind of thing?
So basically how we start on the project is, of course, we need to know what car we're dealing with first, and especially like if it's possible, if the owner has the original manual or like the catalog for the parts, we will definitely need that. So when we order the parts, we know what the part number is. If we can't get it from the original manufacturer, be it from the States, we probably have to source it off from eBay or any secondhand dealers, because some cars are so rare and unique. And especially since some of the cars here are 50 and 60 years old, it's really difficult to source exact parts for whatever work we want to do. So it's a lot about gambling, I would say, a little bit, because we never know which car has parts available for it. Be it like, even if you have the money, it doesn't always mean that you can get the part.
I mean, we're going to look at each vehicle in a minute in more detail, and you're going to kindly talk us through the ones because, you know, they are some incredible. They really are something else. I mean, I'm going to get myself some selfies and photos. I don't know about the kids. I mean, in terms of like the cost, I mean, dare I ask, what's been some of like the most expensive restorations that you've undertaken?
If around the figure would be about, I would say 9 to 10 million, because we do have customers that want like the best of the best, the top of the line engines, the top of the line transmissions, and especially like specialty leathers. They want to get the best because like that's what they had when they were young, or that's what they saw in the magazines when they were young. So there we have, you know, big pocket customers who want the classic restoration look, like back from the old days, and that costs a lot of money.
I mean, I'm going to ask you a dumb question, so forgive me here, but, you know, they spent all this money on these cars. Do they take them out and drive them around?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like
really? 10, 11 million bucks? I'd be so scared to get a stone chip or something.
Oh, it happens. It happens occasionally, like, you know, from car meets or like people touching them and unfortunately having keys in their pockets and it gets scratched up. But we always do see, like, you know, on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday, we always see beautiful cars coming down Soi Siam Country Road.
Wow.
And it's always like friends and customers from yesteryears, and they come in up to the showroom and have a quick hi and a coffee, things like that. And we just talk and chat and talk about their projects and our own projects as well. And so it's always a great fun to see, like every Saturday and Sunday.
So the question I'm going to ask you, I mean, we're surrounded by these stunning cars. If you could take one home now, which one would it be?
Wow, I will most definitely take definitely the C3 Corvette right over here from 1971.
Okay.
It has a big 7.3 liter block.
7.3.
7.3 liter naturally aspirated.
What's the gallons to the mile out of that one then?
Ridiculously bad.
I mean, could you imagine that? I mean, yeah, it is a beautiful car. Well, I'll tell you what, look, let's have a look around. I want to go and show you these vehicles over here because they are absolutely stunning. So Dennis, behind me now, we've got all these motorcycles. I mean, tell me a bit about these because they're a little bit quicker than mine. I've got a little old battered out moped out there that's in desperate need of loving. I mean, you've got this F4, all these superb motorcycles. I mean, talk to me a bit about these.
So for our sports bike collection, what we have is 2 MV Agustas and 1 Ducati. So I'll probably start on the F4 first.
Yeah.
So this is from the early 2000s. So MV Agusta was very popular with coming with very amazing and beautiful designs. They're kind of like the Alfa Romeo of motorbikes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so what we have here is the F4, and this bike is, I could tell you that the sound is wonderful. So what's unique about this is that MV Agusta has this habit of making wonderful and beautiful exhaust. So this is one of the only bikes with 4 tips exhaust at the back.
Oh, wow.
So most bikes come with 1 or 2. This F4 comes with 4.
How quick does it go?
How quick does it go? So this is basically like a proper race bike.
Okay.
So back in the days, these MV Agusta and Ducati were always fighting with like being the top of the Italian class of bikes.
Wow.
So this is one of the most unique, I would dare say, Italian bikes that we have in our collection right now.
So what would the top speed be, do you think?
Top speed is dependent on the driver. Because back then, I would say that bikes like these didn't really have a lot of electronics. So, I mean, they didn't have electronically controlled suspension, or the ECU wasn't really advanced. So I would dare say that these bikes can go up to about 250 to 280 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah, no problem. But at the same time, it depends on the confidence of the rider.
I mean, you've got some, what I would call more like the trusty steed, like the big, I mean, what are these bikes?
So back here, we have 2 V-Rods. Both of them, one of them is from the Heritage Edition, I believe. So this is kind of like what it was originally supposed to look like. And its brother is the complete opposite because this is
Okay.
a fully loaded, fully custom V-Rod. So basically everything on this black V-Rod right here is almost not original. And it comes with a supercharger as well, which is not really common for bikes.
Okay.
So a lot of people, they want to put a lot of torque into the bikes. They will put a blower or they put a supercharger or a turbo, which back then was not a very common thing to do for a bike because it made exceptionally crazy power.
Did it?
So this actually does a very, very nice tail spin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of these bikes, what we do is we fit them with very, very large rear tires. So the grip is fantastic and the sound is absolutely mind-blowing.
Wow. I won't race them on my moped then. I'll give that. I mean, that does remind me though of like when you see the movies and they're out on those big American highways on these big bikes just bombing along. I mean, is that the sort of bike they would use or is that not?
Yeah, most definitely. Like this is fully custom. So a lot of our customers, what they come down with, like from the bikers clubs and or the cruiser clubs that are in Pattaya right now, they do like to custom their bikes to make it look like Harley Davidson V-Rods from the movies, from the TV shows and things like that. So this is one of like the products from that generation, like the fully loaded, fully custom. And a lot of the bikers, they come in and they get inspiration from the bikes as well that we have here. So aside from these 2 V-Rods, we actually have this very special custom bike.
Okay.
This, I wouldn't say it's a Harley Davidson, but this is definitely from that kind of idea. So this has an SNS engine and it comes with a blower. So it's kind of a cross between a turbo and a supercharger. And what's really interesting about this bike, it comes with a nitrous oxide tank. So it comes with like what cars have, like for the boost button, this bike has.
No, really?
That's what's really crazy about this project. So we get a lot of, I would dare say, mad ideas. Not crazy ideas, it's absolutely mad ideas.
I'll be too. I mean, the size of that wheel is just ridiculous. That's bigger than a car tire.
Exactly. So like we have to source the tires especially from like America as well because they don't actually produce these in Thailand. And a lot of the parts, there is a long waiting list. So we have to be very patient when it comes to these kind of projects, especially for bikes as well.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Well, I want to look at these cars. Now, we got this beautiful car here on the right-hand side. Now, Dennis, enough about these bikes, although there is one particular bike I want to speak to you about in a minute because that is something different. I mean, look at this bad boy. I mean, tell me about this. This is Camaro, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. This is the Chevy Camaro SS350. So this is actually fully restored and one of our clients' cars. So besides bringing bikes and cars from our personal collection, we also hold cars and bikes from customers who want to let them go as well. So this is from a personal collection from one of our friends. And we actually did a lot of work on this Camaro to make it look beautiful. And I can dare say that it is a lot of fun to ride.
What condition was this in when it first came to you?
It wasn't too bad, I would dare say, but it was definitely a bit weathered, like in terms of the paint, and it was like a little bit dusty. So we do clean up and make sure like it looks great, beautiful, like the chrome definitely shines through.
Looks
the paint
amazing.
Shines through as
Looks
well.
amazing.
And the leather looks, pretty much fresh. So even like on a weekly basis or a daily basis, we do touch up on the cars here in the showroom as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that every time like somebody comes in, they get a fresh look of the car as its magnificence is.
I mean, just look at that. I mean, that really is. Damn. Now let's look at the one behind you. This one behind you, the Stingray.
Exactly.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's
So
something else.
So I would dare say this is one of the top cars that we have here right now. This is the C3 Stingray from Corvette, and this is from 1969-71. So what's unique about this C3 is that this was the last model that Corvette made with the two chrome bumpers on the front and the back. And what's unique about this is that we actually changed it out to brake disc because it produced so much power from the 7.3 liter engine that drum brakes don't cut it.
I mean, 7.3 litre.
7.3 litres.
I mean, forgive me for asking what may be a stupid question, but how quick would that go?
Well, from like zero to 100, I would dare say like if the tail doesn't spin that much, probably under 5 seconds.
Wow.
Definitely easy. Because besides doing like restoration work, sometimes we do performance work as well. So we do fit them with like the BF Goodrich tires, and with proper calibration and tuning to the ECU, definitely we can get a good performance out of like a very classic car.
Looks amazing, I've got to say. Now, there is one that I do want, because I do recognize this car over here. Let's have a look at this one. Now, let's talk about one car I actually do recognize is the Mustang. I mean, that is a beast.
Yeah, so this is a Ford Mustang 1970 Mark 1351. So this actually just rolled in yesterday morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we do change the cars around a lot. So this was actually done up a little bit, like it didn't have the blow on the top. And we redid the stickers as well because we felt that this look was doing it better justice. So every now and then, every week, I would dare say we would change the cars regularly, because sometimes when the customer, they get it and it rolls out, we bring another car back in.
I so want to drive that. Now that is my kind of car. That looks just the business. And you got this motorbike behind, which is quite unique, isn't it?
Oh yes, most definitely one of the rarest you can find in Thailand.
In what way?
They don't make it anymore, number one, and back then, I mean, what you can find now is only like 1 to 4 cylinders, but this bike has 6.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at that now. I mean, it looks like amazing. I mean, is that street legal?
Oh, well, it was produced by Honda. It's known as the CBX. With 6 liters, definitely this was a street legal bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the vehicles here, we try to make sure that we get the proper documentation. So when you roll it out here, you definitely can have fun on the road driving it as well.
I mean, I've got to ask the question. I'll ask you about these cars and the motor. I mean, what kind of speed does that do? I mean, it's got a block the size of a tank.
Well, I would say back in the days, they didn't really produce a lot of horsepower per liter. So I would say that it's not the fastest.
Okay.
But the sound that it made, it was very unique because of the 6 cylinders. So it sounded like nothing else that was available.
I have to ask you about the sound, because if you remember in part 1, we spoke about little willies, and I call them small penises when they ride around. I mean, has that got a full-on, a large one?
Oh, well, I would dare say that you probably wouldn't look at this bike in the same way.
Yeah.
But it does have, I believe, 6 exhaust tips
6, man.
Yeah.
See,
So
if you want to make a lot of noise, do it properly. Look at this bike, it's beautiful. That's the bike you should be making the big noise, not your silly little scooters that you ride around in. Now, we're nearly finished, but over the back here, we've got your favourite car, the black one that was red that you've now changed black. And we've got another Mustang.
Exactly.
And what's that one in the far corner?
Oh, that's the Buick Grand Sport GS.
All right, well, we're going to go look at that. Come and check these out. So we're nearly at the end now. I mean, honestly, what a playground you've got. It's just amazing. But before we finish, you've got 3 more cars I want you to tell me about. One there, I mean, I'm not sure. Do you know, I actually like that. What do you call that? Like a Corvette grey? Steel grey?
I would say, yeah, it's kind of like the Cobra grey.
Yeah, and this red one, this is the kind of thing I would expect to see on like the TV shows and that. I mean, talk to me about this one.
Yeah, so basically they are the exact same model, except that this one has a different paint job as well as the hood. If you can see, we have the carbon one, the carbon matte black on the grey Mustang, as to this one, which is fully painted together with the hood. So it's basically the same kind of car, but it's just a different kind of body job, as well as different wheels. This has a different set of wheels compared to that one. The grey one has a bit more sporty, racy wheels as to this one, which is a bit more classic in the 1970s. Yeah. So would you like me to talk about the Triumph right now?
Yeah, I mean, well, I know I want to talk about this one because this is your one,
it's
isn't it?
kind of like the baby of the showroom right now.
This is your one. This is your company car. If you could take one out, this is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, so the TR3 Triumph is basically from the 1963, I believe. So this was a project that we did for over about 3 years. So when it came to us, it was bright red. Like if you had to see the photos, it was completely red, and it wasn't as nearly as beautiful as it is today. But I'm quite proud about this project because this was one that we kind of make it almost 100% originally what it used to be.
And how long would that take, sorry?
It took 3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
And dare I ask, roughly ballpark figure? I mean, was there a lot of money spent on this?
I would say more time and effort and labor was spent into it, especially the waiting time for the parts from England and everything. It's definitely a very, very classic car. We have many gents from the UK, from South Africa coming in, looking at this car and thinking back to their parents having the same car as well.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah.
Exactly, TR3, TR4, things like that. So this is definitely one of the best showcases that we have in the showroom right now.
Well, we've got one more to talk about, which is that baby over there in the corner. I mean, what's that?
Yes, so that is the Buick Grand Sport GS. So this is what they call the John Wick car, because this was about the same car that he was using in the movies as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so this was one of the very big American coupe cars with the rear spoilers as well. So this is a proper classic American car.
Nice.
Let's say.
Nice.
So many people don't really appreciate Buick as much as I would say for the Corvette or the Ford, but there is a strong following for Buick cars, and we do have one Buick car that's called the La Riviera, and it's beautiful turquoise blue.
Nice.
So we hope to. The next time you guys come in again, we hope to have it in the showroom as well.
Fantastic. Well, before we finish, I want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
So you've got all these incredible vehicles here in motorcycles. What is the most selfie selected vehicle that people have to have their picture with?
I would say so far from the past 2 weeks, it will be this red Mustang.
Really? Is that the one, is it?
Exactly. The red in this showroom just stands out so much in contrast with the white. Even like people who don't know too much about the car, they just think that it's completely gorgeous.
Yeah, I must admit, it is a beautiful. You are one lucky man. I mean, not only is this your passion, but this is also your work as well. I mean, how lucky. Talk about a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Dennis, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much indeed for sparing some time to come and talk to us.
Sure.
Guys, you've seen it now firsthand. Remember part 1. If you missed part 1, have a look in the description below. Come and enjoy some fantastic food. I showed you the menu. We spoke about the different cuisines here. Also, they got the bar with the mixologist. You know, you've got a fantastic selection of food and drink available. And look at these vehicles. If you like your vehicles, well then I'm sorry, there is just one place in the whole of Pattaya you need to come to, and that is here. It's in Soi Siam Country. Very, very easy to get to. You can't miss it. I will put a map link in the description below. So again, check that out. Guys, come and have a look at that. It really is just incredible. All right, well, that's it for me today. As always, guys, please remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we bring out a new video. Check out our members area, more and more members joining each and every week, and join our Discord group. Have a look on there. There's lots of people, like-minded people just like yourself, that have got a love for this wonderful city that Dennis and I are lucky enough to call home. And come and check this place out. Unbelievable, it really, really is. All right, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please, as always, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.